Welcome back to the Rock and Wellness Podcast. I am Rachel, and I am so happy that you are here. It has been a few weeks since I've been behind the microphone, and honestly, life has been very full. I hosted a 2-day yoga and wellness retreat in mid-July out in beautiful Bragg Creek. For those of you who know where it is, it's just stunning out there. I've been really working hard setting up for the next retreat, which will be hosted in October of this year, which is 2026 if you're tuning in after this release date. I've been working behind the scenes in the business, creating, planning, supporting clients, and then I lost my voice. And some of you might be listening thinking, her voice sounds a little different. Well, it's still not completely back, but I just couldn't wait any longer. So the irony of coming back to record a podcast episode about supporting your health and immune system is not lost on me. And I want to start there because I don't want this episode to sound like if you do all the right things, you'll never get sick. That is simply not true. We are human. We get exposed to viruses. We get tired. We have stressful seasons. Our bodies change. Sometimes we catch something even when we are doing our absolute best. But recently my boyfriend got sick and asked me a question that I thought was such a good one. And he said, "How come you don't get as sick as me?" And my simple answer was this: I do all the things. Not perfectly, not obsessively, not because I believe I'm invincible, but consistently. I drink the water. I prioritize nourishing food. I move my body as much as I can. I practice yoga. I take supplements that support my body. I make rest a priority. I manage stress as best I can. I meditate. I protect my energy. And I use the tools that help me feel grounded, supported, and resilient. Now, all of those little things may not prevent every illness, but they help create a body, mind, and nervous system that is better supported for whatever life brings. So today we're talking about doing all the things and what that really means. This is not a perfectionist wellness checklist. Not at all. It is simply an invitation for you to build your own foundation of support for your immune system, your energy, your mental health, and your whole beautiful body and soul. And as always, this episode is for education and general wellness information only. Please speak with your trusted, qualified healthcare provider about any symptoms, medications, supplements, and medical concerns, especially if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, managing a health condition, or taking prescription medications. So let's get into it. First, let's remove some pressure. A healthy immune system is not an immune system that never reacts, never gets sick, or never needs rest. Your immune system is incredibly complex. It is consistently working in the background, recognizing threats, responding to what your body encounters, repairing, adapting, and protecting. Getting sick is not automatically a sign that you have failed at wellness. Sometimes your body just needs rest. Sometimes stress is piled up. Sometimes you've been traveling, facilitating retreats, hugging lots of people, sleeping in a different bed, eating differently, or simply being around more people than usual. Sometimes your immune system encounters something new. The goal is not to shame ourselves when we get sick. The goal is to give our body the resources it needs to do its job well. Think of your immune system like a team working behind the scenes. If the team has water, nourishment, sleep, movement, emotional support, and periods of recovery, it has a much stronger foundation than if it's trying to operate while dehydrated, underfed, stressed, sedentary, overstimulated, and exhausted. It is not about a magic pill. It is about the foundation. When someone asks me where to begin, water is almost always one of the first things I mention. Hydration is not glamorous. It is not a trendy hack, but your body depends on water for so many essential functions: circulation, digestion, temperature regulation, nutrient transport, waste removal, lubrication, energy, and more. When we are dehydrated, we may feel fatigued, foggy, headachy, constipated, achy, and less resilient overall. And I know it sounds basic, but basic is often where the magic is. A practical starting point is to keep a water bottle with you and sip it throughout the day. Your needs will vary based on your body size, activity level, weather, food intake, health conditions, and medications, but the key is consistency. Plain water is hard for many people, so if it is for you, make it more enjoyable. Add lemon, berries, cucumber, mint, and my favorite, electrolytes. And if that works for your body, of course, everybody's different. Herbal tea also counts towards hydration as well. I personally find that when I begin my day with water, I make better choices all day long. It becomes a signal to my body. We are taking care of you today. And when you're feeling run down, traveling, teaching, or in a busy season of your life, hydration becomes even more important. This is one of those small things that really is not small at all, and it's the absolute first thing that I get my clients to do. The next part of doing all the things is nutrition. Again, I'm not talking about eating perfectly. I am not talking about restriction, punishment, or trying to earn your health through food. I am talking about just simple nourishment. Food is nothing more than information for the body. It gives us the protein, fiber, vitamins, minerals, fats, and carbohydrates we need to create energy, repair tissue, support our gut, balance blood sugar, and keep all of our systems functioning. When I'm busy, I notice that nutrition is often the first thing that me and other people let slide. We skip meals, we grab whatever's quickest, we run on coffee, we forget about protein, or we wait until we're starving and then eat whatever's available. And I get it. Life gets busy for all of us. But supporting your body with real food is one of the most powerful things you can do. A simple place to begin here is to build meals around a few key foundations. Protein to support muscle, recovery, immune function, satiety, and stable energy. Colorful fruits and vegetables for fiber and a wide range of nutrients, so important. Healthy fats from foods like avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, which will look different for everyone, of course, depending on the preferred source. Fiber-rich carbohydrates such as beans, lentils, oats, quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes, and whole grains. And regular meals so your body is not constantly on an energy roller coaster. You do not need a complicated meal plan to make this work. A smoothie with protein, berries, greens, and seeds can be supportive. Tofu and vegetables on toast. A big soup with beans or other protein source. A nourishing grain bowl with your favorite sauce. Plant-based yogurt with fruit or Greek yogurt if you eat it, with chia seeds and nuts. And even a simple stir fry with lots of vegetables and your preferred protein source. Very simple, very nourishing. Now, the question I like to ask is, and I'd encourage you to ask on a regular basis, what can I add to support myself? Can I add protein? Can I add color? Can I add fiber? Can I add water? These questions, or that simple question, feels a lot more supportive than what do I need to cut out? I always ask, what can I add? And when you add in the good stuff, the bad stuff just gets worked out. And a big piece of immune support is gut health. Much of our immune system activity is closely connected with the gut, which is one more reason to focus on fiber, plant diversity, hydration, and foods that help your digestion feel supported. You do not have to overhaul your entire kitchen today, though. Start with one nourishing meal, then another, and let it build. Now let's talk supplements, because this is one area people often want a quick answer. Supplements can absolutely be a helpful tool, but they are not a replacement for sleep, food, hydration, movement, or stress management. You cannot supplement your way out of a lifestyle that is running you into the ground. In saying that, there are common nutrients people often discuss when it comes to general immune support, including vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, omega fatty acids, magnesium, probiotics, and a protein support when someone is not meeting their needs through food. But, and this matters, what your body needs is individual. Your age, diet, medications, lab work, your medical history, your hormone stage, your digestion, lifestyle, and current health status all matter when choosing supplements. And more is not always better. Some supplements can interact with medications, and high doses can be harmful or cause unwanted symptoms, which is why I always prefer, whenever possible, to stick with whole food sourced supplements. So I want you to make sure that you're not hearing this as a supplement prescription. Think of this as a reminder to have a conversation with a trusted professional. Your physician, although they don't know a lot about supplementation, usually a registered dietitian or qualified herbologist or other qualified supplement practitioner who understands your individual situation, is key. Now, for me, personally, supplements are a non-negotiable part of my wellness toolkit. They absolutely help me fill the gaps, especially my whole food supplements. They support my nutrition. They are a layer of care, but they're not the whole picture. And I also think it's important to simplify. You do not need 17 bottles on your counter to be healthy. Start with the basics. Know why you're taking something. Choose high quality. I cannot stress this the most. And your highest quality supplements are usually not the ones you find on the shelf. And be consistent and reassess regularly. This is far more helpful than buying every new immune booster that pops up online. All right, let's move on. Movement is another big part of my answer when somebody asks why I tend to stay well or bounce back more quickly. I move my body regularly, not to punish myself, although I used to be in that mode, but not to change how I look. I also used to be in that mode and sometimes catch myself in that mode again. But I am at an age where I have to believe that every workout does not have to be at its absolute most intense. I now move my body because my body was designed to move. All of our bodies were designed to move. Movement supports circulation, mood, sleep, mobility, strength, stress management, and overall health. It can help us feel more connected to our bodies and less trapped in our heads. And the best movement is usually the movement you can do consistently. For you, that might be walking. It might be a daily practice of yoga. It might be dancing in your kitchen. It might be strength training, swimming, cycling, hiking, Pilates, or playing with your kids. It might be 5 minutes of stretching between meetings. You do not have to earn a full workout to count movement as valuable. Sometimes movement is a 20-minute walk outside. Sometimes it's a very basic yoga practice. Sometimes it's a few squats while your coffee brews. Sometimes it is gentle stretching when you are tired. Consistency matters a lot more than intensity. And this is especially important in high-stress seasons. When we are overwhelmed, we tend to believe the only options are an intense workout or nothing at all. But gentle movement can be deeply regulating for the nervous system and in some cases, even more beneficial than those intense ones. So take the walk, do the 5-minute stretch, put on one song and move your body. It all counts. Now, as a yoga teacher, I would be missing something huge if I did not talk about yoga. Yoga has been one of my anchors for years, not because it guarantees perfect health, but because it gives me tools to come back to myself. Yoga helps me tune into my breath. It helps me notice when I am carrying stress in my shoulders, jaw, belly, hips, or chest. It gives me space to slow down, reconnect, and let my nervous system know that I am safe. When the nervous system is always in fight or flight mode, the body is constantly spending resources on survival. We are not designed to live in a state of high alert all day, every day. Yoga can be an opportunity to shift gears. And when I say yoga, I do not mean that you need to be doing handstands or a 90-minute power flow. Yoga might be legs up the wall for 5 minutes. It might be child's pose. It might be a very slow, relaxed yin practice. It might be simply lying on the floor with one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. It might be taking a few intentional breaths before you respond to an email. These practices matter because your body needs signals of safety and rest. So here's a simple practice you can try right now, especially if you feel like life is moving too quickly. Take a moment to pause if you're not driving or if you're somewhere where you can. Place one hand over your heart and one hand on your belly. Soften your shoulders. Inhale gently through your nose. Then exhale just a little longer than you inhaled. Do that again. Gentle inhale. A slower exhale. You don't need to force your breath. Just let your exhale be soft and steady. Notice how that feels. Even a minute, a few seconds of intentional breathing can help you create a small pause in the middle of a chaotic day. And those pauses add up. Now, stress is not just in your head. Stress is physical. Your body responds to constant pressure, deadlines, caregiving, financial worries, relationship tension, overcommitment, poor sleep, grief, uncertainty, scrolling, and the never-ending mental to-do list. We cannot eliminate stress completely, nor should we expect to, but we can create practices that help us process it instead of storing it in the body. And meditation is one of those practices. Meditation does not mean that your mind goes completely blank. It means you practice returning your attention. You notice the thoughts, you notice the sensations, and you come back to your breath, your body, a word, a prayer, or the present moment. Even 5 minutes can be meaningful. You can sit quietly. You can use a guided meditation. You can walk in nature without your phone. You can journal. You can do a body scan before bed. You can diffuse an aroma, your favorite essential oil you associate with calm, if that's something you enjoy and, of course, know how to use safely. The point is not to do it perfectly. The point is to create a rhythm of return. Return to your breath. Return to your body. Return to what matters. Return to yourself. When life is busy, meditation often feels like the first thing we do not have time for, but often it's exactly what helps us feel less reactive, more grounded, more capable of making supportive choices. Now, I cannot talk about immune support without talking about sleep. Sleep is not lazy. Rest is not something you have to earn. And being exhausted is not a badge of honor. While we sleep, our bodies are doing a tremendous amount of behind-the-scenes work. Sleep supports recovery, memory, mood, hormone regulation, metabolic health, and immune function. You may not always be able to control how much sleep you get, especially if you're a parent, a caregiver, or maybe it's a stressful season for you, or you're navigating changing hormones. But what we can often create more supportive conditions for rest. We can do that. Maybe that looks like a consistent bedtime routine. Maybe it looks like dimming lights earlier. Maybe it means putting your phone away after 30 minutes before bed. Perhaps reducing alcohol, late night work, or that extra cup of coffee that's keeping you wired at night. Maybe it's asking for help. Perhaps it means accepting that rest is productive. I think so many women, especially, have been taught to keep going no matter what, to take care of everyone else, to push through, to prove that we can handle it. But your body is always communicating with you, if you choose to listen. Fatigue is communication. Irritability is communication. Cravings, tension, brain fog, and burnout are communication. Your body is not betraying you. It's asking for support. Listen before it has to shout. Now, protecting your energy, remember, is healthcare. This may not be the first thing people think about when they think about immunity, but I believe protecting your energy is part of wellness. Ask yourself, who and what drains you? What are you saying yes to when you really mean no? How much information are you consuming? Are you constantly available to everyone else? Do you have space in your week to be a human being, not just a human doing? We cannot always change our responsibilities immediately, but we can begin to create boundaries around our energy. Maybe you take a walk without your phone. Maybe you say no to one thing this week. Maybe you stop checking email after a certain time. Perhaps give yourself permission to rest after an event instead of jumping straight into the next task. That's something I always have to remind myself. Maybe you have an honest conversation about what you really need. I know this part can feel hard, but boundaries are not selfish. They are a way of protecting the capacity you need to show up for your life in the best way possible. When I facilitate retreats or any events, I'm always reminded of how much people need space to exhale, to step away from the noise, to be nourished, to move, to connect, to rest. This is not luxury. It is an essential part of being well. So when my boyfriend asked, "How come you don't get as sick as me?" and I said, "I do all the things," this is what I meant. I do not mean I never had a busy season. I do not mean I never eat something that does not make me feel amazing. I do not mean I never skip a workout, stay up too late, get stressed, or catch a bug. I mean, I return to my foundations again and again. I drink water. I eat food that nourishes me most of the time. I make sure I have protein and plants in my day. I use supplements thoughtfully and appropriately for my body. I move, I do yoga, I breathe, I meditate, I rest. I pay attention to my stress. I get outside, I support my gut. I protect my energy. I try to listen to my body before I am completely depleted. This is what all the things means. Not a perfect wellness routine. A consistent relationship with your own care. And I want you to know that you do not need to start with everything. In fact, please do not. This is how we overwhelm ourselves, and then we shut down and do nothing. So I invite you today to choose one thing. If you're not drinking enough water, start there. If you are skipping breakfast and crashing by mid-morning, add a protein-rich breakfast. If you are overwhelmed, take 5 minutes to breathe. If you have not moved your body in days, go for a walk. If you are exhausted, let tonight be the night you get into bed a little earlier. If you've been carrying too much, ask yourself what you can release. One small action repeated consistently can drastically change how you feel. Now, before we finish, I want to leave you with a simple daily check-in. You could write this in your journal, put it in your phone notes, or just simply use it as a gentle morning reminder. Ask yourself, have I had water today? Have I eaten something nourishing with protein and fiber? Have I moved my body in a way that feels good? Have I taken a few intentional breaths? Have I had a moment of quiet, prayer, meditation, or reflection? What does my body need from me today? And maybe the most important question to ask is, what is one kind thing I can do for myself today? Or let's extend that as well. What's one kind thing I can do for someone else as well today? But that is where it starts. Not with guilt, not with fear, not with trying to control every possible outcome, but with care. Your body is working for you every single day. You do not need to be perfect to support it. You just need to begin building the habits that help you feel stronger, more grounded, and more resilient. So, thank you as always for listening to this welcome back episode of the Rock and Wellness Podcast, and I hope I don't take off for as long again. But if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs a reminder that wellness is built on the small things. And if you've been waiting for a sign to start taking better care of yourself, let this be it. You deserve to feel supported in your body, your mind, and your soul. And if you are craving a deeper reset, connection, yoga, nourishment, and a space to breathe, stay connected with me for details about upcoming retreats, other wellness offerings, and ways we can work together. So until next time, my friends, take a deep breath, drink some water, move your body gently and compassionately, and remember, you do not have to do everything all at once. Just start doing the next supportive thing and keep rocking your wellness. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Rock and Wellness Podcast. Make sure to visit my website at www.rjowellness.com, where you can subscribe to the show and check out all the show notes. While you're at it, if you found value in this podcast, if you'd simply tell a friend about it, that would help out too. You may choose to join the R.J.O Wellness community to take advantage of the freebies, courses, and coaching that will take your voyage to the next level, or support this podcast with your monthly membership. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking your wellness.